Washington, CNN, there's growing Democratic optimism for 2018. President Trump may have a new national security strategy. And Republicans brace for another intra-party feud over a southern Senate seat. It is all in this week's Inside Politics forecast, where you get tomorrow's headlines today. Why Dems' 2018 wave may be big. Recent election results, such as Doug Jones' win in Alabama, have Democrats thinking big. Just how big might surprise you.It would take a swing of 24 seats to flip the House from Republican control to Democrat. No easy task given the way congressional districts are drawn these days. And while Republicans will have just a 51-49 Senate majority once Alabama's Doug Jones is sworn in the next year, the conventional wisdom for months has been that the Senate math favors the GOP, because so many of the seats up in 2018 are held by Democrats, including 10 in states President Trump won in 2016. But the 2017 election results, combined with high engagement among Democrats and a GOP suburban slump, have Democrats quite bullish. Jonathan Martin of the New York Times shared his reporting about how some seasoned Democrats are thinking big. You hear the party talking about 40 seats now, Martin said Sunday on CNN's Inside Politics. It's a long way until next year's election, but you have people who are typically sober looking at a heck of a year next year in the House. Quote, President Trump on Monday will deliver a speech in conjunction with his administration's release of its official national security strategy. It's the White House's chance to offer a roadmap about how the president and his team view the world and will respond to potential threats. And the global challenges facing this president are many, from ISIS to North Korea to the China challenge and beyond. So it will be a document and a speech that deserve attention.But will it have a long shelf life? That question came up in the reporting of Politico's Eliana Johnson, who says Trump's frequent changes of heart raise questions about whether a position laid out this week will survive into next year, or even the next week. I'll be watching whether this document merely collects dust or whether it actually serves to guide the administration's foreign policy, Johnson said. Up until now, it really seems to have been guided by the way the president wakes up feeling. Meanwhile, there were new dustups this past week between Trump White House aides and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. CNN's Sara reports that many in the Trump inner circle believe there will be some big North Korea decisions to make in the near future, perhaps even during the president's Christmas break in Florida. And, despite all the media accounts of Trump-Tillerson tensions, Murray thinks there could be a year-end truce of sorts. I'm told by at least some that privately, they have reached a temporary date,And, Murray said Sunday. Now it's Trump, so temporary could be key here. There is no question that corporations are the biggest winners in the tax reform legislation due for votes this week in the House and Senate. But what about other interests that were lobbying furiously to the end as negotiators try to settle differences between the House and Senate versions? If you've got student loan debt, you get to keep that deduction. Ditto for families with high medical costs. That deduction remains as well. Bloomberg's Ahel Kapper tracked the tax bill horse trading and says the final version does not include some provisions pushed by social conservatives. Cochran also missed time in the Senate earlier this year because of health problems, and there are quiet contingency conversations in both Mississippi and Washington about what would happen if Cochran is unable to return to work, or if he decides to step aside in 2018. But the Republican establishment, which went on full alert to quash the McDaniel challenge in 2014, has zero interest in that. As we just witnessed in Alabama, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has a keen interest in keeping Republicans he views as agitators off of the ballot and out of the Senate. This is all theoretical at the moment, because Cochran's staff predicts he will be back to work soon.